Good morning everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden. I hope you all are having a fantastic day. Today I just have some random gardening projects that I need to get done. I need to sow some purple hyacinth bean seeds, plant some bleeding heart bare roots that I bought from Home Depot, and then do something about supporting my snapdragons in my cut flower garden. But before I get to that, I just want to let you guys know that I made it to 1,000 subscribers today. Yay! I'm so excited about it. It's, you know, I've been checking my YouTube account basically every 10 minutes because I was just so almost there, and I just wanted to come on here and say thank you all so much for supporting me. You guys are so fantastic. Your comments are so wonderful. You know, just every day I'm so happy that I finally decided to start doing this YouTube channel. I had been thinking about it, you know, for months, you know, if not a year. I have some videos that I had kind of like practiced with from last year, so, you know, I could just see how long I had been thinking about doing this. And so I'm so happy that I did it. I'm so happy that I got to 1,000 subscribers, and I just wanted to say thank you to you all for supporting me. I really, really appreciate it. So now that that's said, let's get into my random garden chores that I have today. So the first thing I have to do is sow my purple hyacinth bean, and I'm going to show you guys a clip of the plant last year, and it was growing up my pergola. So let me show you guys. It was growing up this pergola right here. So you can see there's nothing there. I planted these beans in March, and then let me show you right here what it looked like by June. It's just, it was amazing. It was absolutely incredible. It grew so fast, and it had these beautiful purple flowers that turned into these like purple seed pods that you could put in some flower arrangements, which was so fantastic. And it all came from just one seed. Actually, in this spot right by the pergola, I planted 3 seeds, which was total overkill. So this year I'm planning to do another plant right there to go up this pergola, and then I'm planning to put it in this pot right here so it can grow up this post and go over like that. And then the third place I'm gonna do, gosh, I don't know if you guys can see it, on the other side of my fence in my plumbago bed, there's a little sign right there, and I'm planning to grow it right next to that so it can kind of grow up the sign a little bit. So like I said, the seeds I harvested from my plant that I got last year, these purple hyacinth beans, they're so easy to harvest. As soon as it dries, you can basically just, you know, grab them off the vine and they'll come out, and they look like these guys. And you want to soak them for about 6 hours before you stick them in the dirt. And I'm just putting them in these pots. I've pre-moistened this soil, and I'm just doing that because, and not putting them in the seed trays, because they're so easy to germinate and they're so easy to grow. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't have to pot them up like almost immediately. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the seed and I'm just gonna stick it down in there. Really, really easy. And then after I do that, I have these little baggies that I use for little greenhouses, humidity domes. I'll put the baggies over the pots, and then I'll put the pots on one of my heat mats under my grow lights inside my bedroom in my seed starting shelf. And then hopefully by the time our last frost hits, these guys will be ready to plant out, and they'll just grow really, really fast. So yeah, anyway, very easy piece of cake seed sowing, and just like that, I'm done. Ignore Stanley. I don't know who he's barking at. Okay, done. Let me just get the baggies on. Okay, so baggies are on, so they're all in their little mini greenhouses, and I'll just take these in and put them on my heat mat and underneath my grow lights. So if you guys have never grown purple hyacinth bean, I would totally recommend it. It is so easy, it's so quick. My children loved it because it grew so fast, and then they could actually harvest the seed themselves. It was so easy to do. So it's a really, really fun annual to grow. All right, and here's the shelf I plan to put them on, right next to my hollyhocks that I sowed last week. And you want to sow these about 6 weeks before your last frost date, and then you can plant them out once all risk of frost is gone, because they are frost tender. So there's those right there, and then these crazy things right next to it. These are actually begonias, and I got these from Costco, and they're from Longfield Gardens, and I am letting them wake up is what Longfield Gardens recommended because they had been refrigerated for so long. So they're just in a room temperature area, about 70 degrees, and then what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the little shoots to start coming out the, what is this, concave side. You can see this one is starting to come out right there. And once I see them, those shoots coming out in more spots on the, I don't know what these are called, bulbs or corms. Once I start seeing more shoots coming out of this spot right here, then I'll go ahead and I will pot them up into some soil. And my plan is that I'm gonna pot these up and I'm gonna pot some caladium bulbs up and put them in the window box by my front door and use it as a kind of like an economical way to fill up that window box. You know, just because I planned for I planned it so I can grow them from bulbs instead of going out and buying the plants themselves, and so this obviously is a lot cheaper to do it yourself. So these are all different colors of pink begonias, and then I have white caladiums. I'll show you guys a picture right here. And then on the shelf just up above the begonias, I'll give you guys an update on my Bells of Ireland, which they look so good. Oh, I'm so happy about these guys. So I let a couple more of the seeds, just to recap, I pre-sprouted these seeds in a wet paper towel, and within about 2 or 3 days they all sprouted, which was fantastic because I had so much trouble with Bells of Ireland last year. So they all did so well, I ended up being able to fill a whole tray of Bells of Ireland, and you can see they are just so happy. They're doing fantastic. Every single tray is full. Some trays have 2, so I'll end up having to thin these out a little bit, but I am gonna have plenty of Bells of Ireland this year. Very exciting. Hi, Dwight. Yes. All right, and here's where I'm gonna be working next. This is just by my front door, and you can see this is the flower box that I was talking about that I'm gonna put the begonias and the caladiums in. And so I'm thinking I'm just gonna put these bleeding hearts, it came with 2 of them, I'm just gonna put them right there, and then I might even go get another pack and put a 3rd one right there. Let me show you the pack that they came in. So I just got these from Home Depot. Really easy, really cheap. They are the luxuriant one. And we get really hot here in zone 9B, so I think this spot is so protected. It's let's see, east facing, but then it also has this kind of overhang right here, so it's a really protected area. It's probably the coolest space that we have. I think that they'll be really happy there. And then my plan is that I'll plant those there, and then I'll interspace them with some hostas, so by the time that the bleeding hearts kind of die back, the hostas are ready to go. And then my friend Olivia, if you look over there, she gave me some pansies that she had left over. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna intersperse some pansies in the front. I have some Johnny Jump Ups that I grew from seed. They're not flowering. They're not doing very well. So I'm not gonna pull them. I'm gonna leave them there, and I think I'm even gonna fertilize them a little bit. A couple of them have some buds on them, but they're just not doing very well. So I'll fertilize them, I'll move them in the front as well, but I think having those over there, just putting those in, I'll get some immediate color, which is always nice. So the bleeding hearts came bare root, and they were actually pretty hydrated. I don't think I really needed to hydrate them, but I just soaked them for about an hour in some water. And then what you want to do is you want to dig a hole with a little moat so that the roots can sit in that moat, and then you want to bring the soil just up to the crowns, which is about right here. So let me show you guys. Okay, so what I did is I just dug a pretty shallow hole, and then you can see around it there's kind of a moat, which is where I'm gonna put the roots, and then I'm gonna have the plant kind of sit on this tall part right there. Hopefully you guys can see that. Okay, so there's one. I got one more to go. of those pansies to give it a little bit of color.
Okay, and there we go. So it doesn't look like much. I planted one of the bleeding hearts right there, and then another one right there. So they will hopefully come up in spring, early spring, and be really pretty. And then I'm gonna put a couple hostas in there once I get to the store and get them. But you can see the pansies in the front. So thank you to my friend for giving me those. It's so nice to see a little bit of color. So this is done. Now the last thing that I have to do is support my snapdragons. Excuse my garbage cans. So basically, last year I had snapdragons and they all fell over in the wind. And I promised myself that this year I was going to support them, but I keep trying to convince myself or talk myself out of putting netting up because I think it's just so pretty to not have anything there. But just from experience, I know that these snapdragons, one windstorm and it's gonna blow over and then I'm gonna have crooked snapdragons. So I bought Hortonova netting. I'll show you a picture right here. And, hopefully that will hold them up and prevent them from falling over. I just noticed my tulip shoots. I forgot I planted tulips here. It's so funny. You just throw so much stuff in that you start forgetting that you planted a bunch of stuff there. There's tulip shoots all over the place. Oh, that's exciting. And then let me show you guys my anemones. They look so gorgeous. You can see that's Mr. Fokker, which is the funniest name ever, but that's what it's called. And then this is the black eye. And this is the black eye, which is absolutely gorgeous. And a bee. I don't know if you guys can see that. Well, that's nice to see. Oh my goodness. Well, that's nice to see. Great. Some early blooms for these guys. Okay, so I've never actually put down Hortonova netting. I hope I'm saying that right. The netting myself. It looks pretty easy. It looks like you just cover the area and then you wanna, I'm putting it horizontally so that the snapdragons can grow through the grid and the grid will hold it up. And my plan is to use bamboo stakes with rubber bands tied around them, and then I can zip tie the netting to the bamboo stakes. So let's try it. And we are all done. So, I don't know, I'm sure there's probably a better way to do it that makes it look a little bit more pretty, I would say. But just my experience last year with these snapdragons falling over, I think it's kind of worth it. So you can see the whole thing's horizontal, and then the snapdragon is going to grow through the grid, and then the grid is going to basically hold it. So when the wind comes from this direction towards me. The netting will hold the flowers up and will protect them from falling over. And once a snapdragon falls over, then it's fallen over and it'll start growing, and it'll kind of grow a little crooked, kind of like that, which is cool in itself, but when all your snapdragons are crooked, it's not that cool. So what I did is I took these bamboo stakes and then I tied or wrapped a rubber band around it, and then I made a mark 12 inches from the rubber band so I knew how far to put them into the ground, and then I just took a zip tie and zip tied it through the rubber band. So hopefully that will hold everything in. I think it will. I think it'll be good. The Hortonova netting that I bought, I think I bought way too much. You can see how much I have left over right there. But I bought the 79-inch by 250 feet. And you can get this in different sizes. I think this is just the one that I found at the time because this does sell out. I will link it on Amazon and hopefully they'll still have some left if you guys want to do this. I would say probably the best advice I can give you guys is do this first. When you're first putting your seedlings in, or sowing your seeds or anything like that, put the netting down first and then sow, even if you just lay it on the ground, and then sow it into the spots in the netting. Okay, so I think that's gonna be it for today. I got the netting in, which I'm really excited about. Makes me feel like a professional cut flower farmer, which I am absolutely not. It's so funny, there's a girl I follow on Instagram and she calls herself a micro farm cut flower farmer because she's just an amateur and she does it in her backyard just like I do. So I think I'm gonna start calling myself that, a micro farmer cut flower farmer. So I hope this was motivational for you guys. I hope you guys got some tips with the netting and the sowing the seeds and the bleeding hearts and all that kind of stuff. And at least I hope I gave you guys some motivation. And I feel for all of you on the East Coast that are dealing with those cold winter storms this weekend. I'm over here in California sending you guys warm vibes. Again, thank you guys so much for the support. You all are so wonderful. I truly, truly appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful day and I hope you get a chance to get out into your garden. Thanks.